welcome. This is episode 2. We are talking about undergraduate coursework and getting really into dental school. So this is kind of the start, right? When you get to college, you try to plan out your first couple quarters or semesters, and you kind of try to figure out what you want to do, right? So you're talking to counselors, you're talking to friends, you're trying to figure out your schedule, how many credits to hold for each quarter or semester. So there's a lot of questions that need to be answered quickly when you first get into college. So it's kind of like a nerve-wracking time, right?
Well, especially like Kyle, you went through college super fast, right?
Yeah.
I spent 5 years in my undergrad because I was kind of like not positive what I wanted to do. Yeah. And so you can definitely save time if you're on top of it and know exactly what classes you need for dental school. Or, it kind of illustrates there's not like a exact way you have to do it, but there's a more efficient way, right?
Yeah. And I guess one of the biggest things going into undergrad, I think a lot of people worry so much about their major and what's going to be my major and what's going to, get me into dental school. Is business a good one? It really, in the end, doesn't matter. There may be some that help you stick out in your application. If you did like a music major or something like that, you might get a little blip from admissions because of that, but really find something that you enjoy and then just go with that. In the end, it's really not going to make that big of a difference.
There's an argument though, like if you have a science background major, that major incorporates a lot of the prerequisites for pre-med, pre-dental, physical therapy, things like that. So if you're interested in those courses and you want to learn more outside of just doing the prereqs, then like having a science background major is great. Right. For me, I didn't even know I wanted to go to dental school when I first started college. I thought I was going to be in sales and go into business and go that route. So I actually majored in business management, but ended up just doing all the prereqs for dental school kind of after I almost finished my business major. So I, like Jared, I was also 5 years undergrad as well. So it's just different routes, I guess, different strokes for different folks, right? But we're all here, and we kind of just got here all different routes.
So I would say if you're trying to decide on a major, you can think about, how sure are you that you want to go to dental school? If you're sure of it, there's, for example, I did microbiology, which, to be honest, had I not been in dental school with a microbiology degree, I don't really know what I would do. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of dead set on that. A lot of schools do require that you graduate with a degree in undergrad. Not every school is, right? Like Kyle, you said.
Yeah, I didn't end up graduating. So.
Yeah, and that would be not necessarily the norm. That's definitely more the exception. So if that's something that you're considering, make sure you identify what schools you're considering and make sure that that's a possibility with that school. Because I know a lot want to see a degree, a bachelor's degree. Yeah, any other things about major, or what do you guys think?
I think just to your point of planning ahead as much as you can, right? I know for me, I didn't know I wanted to go to dental school, but once I made that decision, I kind of made an approach of, okay, I know that I don't want to be doing X amount of credits for anatomy. So all the schools that required multiple anatomy classes, I was I'm not going to do that much. I want to do the course load and the prerequisite classes that are the schools that I want to go to require.
Right.
So really major doesn't matter, but definitely figure out where you want to go. Right. Once you've decided I want to go the demo route, and then just plan out your attack of trying to do that as efficiently as possible.
Yeah.
What did you guys have for credits wise, when you were in school, and what do you think schools are looking for?
So I think schools are looking for a full-time student at least, right? Dental school is rigorous, and so they want to see, really with all of your application, the admissions committees, I think, are looking to find a student that will be successful in dental school, right? You're going to be super busy. You're going to be juggling didactic courses with clinic, trying to schedule and call patients, doing a lot of things. So they want to see that you're a robust person. You know what I mean? So I would say at least 14 credits per semester. I think
12 is full time, right?
12 is full time, and I think I was close to 12 a couple semesters. So it's not a hard and fast rule. If you don't do 14, you're toast. But I know for sure that they're going to be looking at that.
I guess just as a general, what would that look like for me? Probably 3 semesters in a row. Once I started doing my heavier prereq courses, for example, I had one trimester at BYU Idaho where I was doing my anatomy class, I had a biology class, and I was in like my first chemistry course. And then on top of that, I had my general studies because I was trying to go quickly. I ended up being in undergrad for 3 years. So then the next quarter, I was doing the second part of anatomy, the second part of bio, and then Chem 106. And so it really just, they want to see stacked, like my friend said, they want to see stacked science classes, bigger credit loads, things like that. That's going to make you look a lot more competitive.
And what's been cool, like for us being in dental school right now, like we have access to people that are on the admissions committees, and like we've asked them questions, and a lot of them have told us that like a credit load for an applicant is a big indicator to them that they can kind of bet on you. Right. And that's like the main thing that I've realized. It's like as admission committees, it seems like they just want to make sure that they can put a good bet on you as an applicant, and like picturing you as their student. Are they going to get through our program? Are they going to be a good fit with us? It's not like, oh, we want the best and the like brightest GPA and test takers and DAT. Like they're like, we want the best student that can get through our program, but also the best human being for our program too.
Yeah. I guess to that note, when I was talking to one of our admissions people, he getting into dental school, he saw my application that I did Olympic lifting, and he thought that was super interesting. And I just put that on there on a whim, just because I had done some competitions and I taught courses and stuff just as volunteer work. And he was like, that was awesome. That helped us like see kind of outside of your didactic courses who you were, like what kind of hobbies you were in and that kind of thing. So don't forget to live your life outside of school while trying to get into dental school, because those kinds of things can help you stand out as well.
For sure. Let's talk about GPA, because not only having the correct courses and showing that you have a good course load is important, but you have to succeed in those courses. Obviously, you need to retain that information to perform well on the DAT, and then also that information will help you in dental school. But achieving good grades is obviously one of the best indicators a school is going to have, right? So there's not like magic numbers. I just pulled up the ADEA Dental School Explorer. Did you guys use that at all in your application process? Yeah, most school libraries will have this. If you want to get the ebook, it's $25, so you can just order that online for yourself, and it'll show you the data from the last year's admissions group for all of the dental schools in the United States. You can look at, for that school, demographics. You can look at the lowest accepted GPA, the highest accepted, the average, science GPA, because they do separate your science GPA from your other classes, because like we've said, those are more rigorous courses, more reflective of what your dental school education will be like. So they want to see how did you perform in just those classes. So looking at those ranges will give you an idea, and the averages will give you an idea of how you're stacking up against other dental school applicants, as well as help you decide maybe where is a good place for you to apply, where you have a good chance, right? I think it'd be better to look at it before you get into college and just kind of have like a goal, because it's a lot easier to start freshman year with that goal in mind than try to claw your way out, which, I mean, to some extent, I think everyone kind of has a bad freshman year. It's part of the game, but it would be a lot easier to go in, take Chem 105 or whatever your school offers, and get a good grade right from the get-go. You're going to be in a better place.
And so, like, I'll talk about my, like, counselor experience, and then we should kind of go into, like, where did we all apply? Why did we apply there? But for me, I was very much in that boat what Jared's kind of describing of, like, hey, having a freshman year that, you know, my grades weren't that good, and, like, my GPA would not have stacked up against the other dental applicants. So I went into my counselor as, like, a pre-health advisor, and she pretty much was like, I don't know if you can do this. Like, I don't know if you're going to be able to, like, average an A- in all of these courses and all this stuff. So, and what's funny is I feel like I've heard that through different schools of buddies that they've gone to their pre-health advisor and they've said that. So I wouldn't let that scare you, but just know that, like, GPA and, like, your performance in your classes is a big deal.
It's irreplaceable.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I don't think it should scare you. If you've already made the decision, this is what I want to do, like, you can do it. It's just like, how bad do you really want it? And if you have to take retake classes, you can. If you have to get a tutor and you've never done that, like, you can do that. And just do whatever it takes, really, to get in. But don't let those counselors scare you. Like, they will. I think that's easier said than done, because that scared me. It totally scared me. But if you want to do it, you can do it. Because honestly, I think I can speak for all of us. It's like, if we can do it, you guys can do it.
I completely agree. I started off really poorly, probably into my sophomore year of college. I just had like C's, and it was really lackluster in my grades. And then at one point, I just kind of decided I wanted to do better. I needed to do better to get into dental school, and so I basically my trend went upward from there. And so I think that's what dental schools look for. If you have that trend of upward climbing, if you're struggling at the beginning, but then you figure it out and you can upward climb, then that's great. That shows that you can figure out and plan.
Right. And obviously we're not an admissions committee, so we can't tell you these things like for sure. But like we have asked these things, and I think they do look at that. But there is certainly a threshold, right, where they're going to look at your application or they're not. And so, I mean, it's kind of funny. I think we have similar experiences, but I know that there's students in our class and students throughout the country that had stellar freshman years, right? And had like excellent grades all throughout. That's definitely the better way to go about it. So make sure, if this is something that you're wanting to do and you're at the point where you can make that decision now, you should.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because it gets eyes on your application, really.
Yeah, it does.
It's like, they like to see the upward trends, but it's like, if you don't hit that minimum threshold of a GPA that they're looking at, it's like, I guarantee you that there's some sorting system.
Yeah, they have to.
They have to. There's just so many that they get. It's around, I think, 2,500 to like 3,000 applications that they get a year. It's like, they're not getting eyes on those if there's like an outlier that's like a GPA that's so much lower than others. Right.
And so just, we're not going to like go over what those thresholds are, because it's different for every school. And I think there's ways to still get eyes on your application, maybe if you didn't make the threshold. But I can't recommend more the Dental School Explorer from the ADA, or the ADEA, because it's going to give you all that data. Like, it's so valuable that all of that is published. So for real, that's a easy $25 for me.
Just throw the link in the description.
Yeah, the link will be below. Affiliate link. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think we'll get any kickback from ADEA.
So then let's talk about, to kind of wrap things up, I guess, is where did we apply? Jared, like, how many schools did you decide to apply to? Why did you choose the schools that you applied to?
I went kind of crazy with the Dental School Explorer, and I made a big spreadsheet. I color coded with my stats how I ranked up against a lot of these other schools, whether that was GPA or with the DAT score, which is the only other numbers, right? Because everything else in your application is a lot more holistic and but I was just taking a look at that, so I ended up applying to over 20 schools.
It's a lot.
It was a lot, but like I said before, I was just dead set. I want to do dentistry, and this was my chance at application. I wanted to cast a wide net. And for my personality, even though it costs a lot more to apply to 20 schools, that felt way better. Yeah. Right? That was my shot. I was shooting it. So that's what I did.
That's great. I only applied to one school. And the reason I did that, I wasn't planning on applying the cycle that I did. But after talking to my wife and getting some advice from my dad, we just kind of said, why not, take a shot and trying to apply, just see what happens. And so I ended up taking the DAT, got my application together. I turned it in a little late, but I only applied to UOP, where I'm at now. And
for sure.
And it worked out. So, that's awesome.
Stoked.
It's funny because I feel like we have a super broad spectrum.
Yeah, right? We're on the opposite
because Jared did over 20, Kyle did 1. I
wouldn't recommend that, by the way. Apply to more than one school.
I did around 12, I think. And I felt like I was very strategic of the different schools that I did apply to. I wouldn't apply to schools, like I said, if they didn't have the requisites that the ones I was doing. And I also didn't apply if I didn't really know anyone at the school, that being people that I've talked to of admissions or friends that were students at the school, or if they hadn't come to my undergrad to do a presentation. But But, there's other things that go into the decision of where to apply. That's kind of geographic, cost, the duration of the program. Like this program that we're in is the only 3-year program, and that was a big plus for me because I had spent extra years in undergrad deciding kind of what I was going to do. Definitely there's a lot that goes into where to apply, but I think, if you're watching, you kind of already have an idea of the student that you are, the person that you are, and there's different programs that suit you better than others. So I like the idea of casting a wide net. I think that's great. But we also have the idea of Kyle here knowing what exactly he wanted. So you can do it a lot of different ways.
I would say like doing your research on each program is really important. Because like you gotta be real with yourself. Like, would I actually go to that school? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for me, I felt like, I would. That's why I applied to that many. But you need to think about Davis was saying, like geographic. Are you wanting to do a lot of research? What's the reputation of this school?
Totally.
Are students that are coming out of, interview alumni, talk to them about their experience. If you have the luxury of having really good application stats, like shop around, look for what you feel like is going to be the best school for you. But at the end of the day, it doesn't hurt to throw in a couple extra in the application, right? So,
I guess that's why it comes back to that ADIA help. Like just get onto that portal, look through the program.
Lots of info.
Really, really set yourself up for success.
At least it's a great starting spot, right?
Totally.
For sure. The other thing is, like you said, Davis, you only apply to places where you like new people. I think it's a great idea to start building those relationships with people at the school, whether it's an admissions counselor or a student there or a faculty or whoever it is. Those relationships are huge.
Totally. And we are actually doing an episode on like networking, and we're also doing an episode on application. So we'll dive more into those things. But as you guys are just grinding through the organic chemistries, the biologies, just like stay strong, know that like what you're doing is the right thing, and just try to perform as best as you can, and things will work out. So cool. We got through it, and we're glad that we did get through it. Right. But there always is a light at the end of the tunnel, so keep it up.
All right.